Hello, everyone, and welcome to the As Seen on TV podcast for the original Season 1, Episode 10, The Casket Girls. I'm your host, Dom. With me, I have Omikins and Mike. No,
Wrong way.
Yes, you're the wrong way. You can't properly do the YMCA today.
I had it perfect last night, and then I failed. You made me self-conscious.
It's all my fault. I've just accepted pretty much everything is my fault.
Yes. And now the glare is annoying me again tonight. So
Once you accept the fact that everything is your fault, then you don't worry about it being your fault anymore. Because it's just like, yeah, it's my fault. Whatever. Who cares?
Totally my fault.
Then when it's not my fault, it's a happy surprise. And
blame me.
I feel better. So, yeah. So, what did you guys think of this episode tonight?
It was really good.
Yeah.
I
enjoyed it.
It was a pretty good comeback from their mid-season.
It was. Because I wasn't really that impressed about their mid-season.
No?
To be honest, no.
Because their mid-season was like the aftermath of the crazy.
It was. It was kind of like them picking up the pieces.
Action. Yeah. Because this episode before was just all craziness. The shit hit the fan. Klaus goes on a murder rampage, and now it's just pick up the pieces, put everything back together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was. So we end up talking a little bit about the Casket Girls, what they were last episode, but I don't feel that they portrayed who the Casket Girls really were very well on this episode. Was it clear to you guys?
Mm-hmm. The Casket Girls wasn't it wasn't about a few women. It was the concept of women being unequal and unappreciated by men, and men having the overpowering stature over women. That's what it was about. We when we talked about it, we were actually talking about how we thought, maybe it was a literal sense that these girls were in caskets, but it's not. It's has to do with what I said.
Mike did bring up at the last week episode was the ceremony that they did in New Orleans, and that kind of tied in. That's the way that they portrayed the Casket Girls in this episode. But the Casket Girls were French women that were brought over to be married into New Orleans, and because they were virgins.
They had an understanding that it was going to be a good thing, but
right.
They were getting put into a horrible situation. They had no idea, and Rebecca saved them.
Right, but because they were virgins, like the males, they started like trying to take advantage of them and stuff. And the caskets were what they carried their belongings in. So they were not coffins like they very well made it out to be in this episode. They were about the size of a small coffin, but they were not coffins. No. So these quote-unquote caskets was kind of misleading in the way they portrayed them in this episode. I didn't think that they did it very clear. I had to research it a little bit afterwards. But I understand why they did what they did, but I just don't feel like they represented the actual Casket Girls properly.
I thought it was clear, but that's just me.
Me too.
Okay.
All right, then.
I guess I'm the odd man out.
You are odd.
I'm going to take my ball and go home.
Your ball.
What happened to the other one?
Lance Armstrong took it.
Oh. Damn.
No, just kidding. So we get to see Cammy get the compulsion reversed. This is the first time... Mostly. This is the first time we've seen it on a human. So... last time we saw it was on Marcel?
No. The compulsion?
It was on... What's his face?
It was on Josh.
Josh, yes. So we got to see it on a vampire before, and it didn't really seem to do much damage to him. Cammy, on the other hand, started bleeding out of the nose. Like, it looked like she was almost having a brain aneurysm. And it definitely seemed like it took a toll on her. It seemed a lot more painful than it was for Josh, but that's because he was healing instantly, which Cammy wasn't. So I think if Davina kind of pushed too hard, she could have killed Cammy.
Oh, definitely. But
Oh,
I think
probably.
Davina knew. Davina knew for
Yeah.
sure.
But do you think Cammy ended up taking that better than you thought she originally would have?
She was so badass. She was. I mean, if you would have given her the chance to actually kick some ass, she totally would have. The verbal, like, asser, ass hattery, I mean, bad assery coming out of her mouth
Ass
was,
hattery coming out of her mouth.
yeah, whatever. Bad assery coming out her mouth was just like, you could see it in Klaus's eyes, like, oh, that hurt. It really hurt. He felt so little after she got after him.
Yeah,
Mhm.
she did.
Yeah.
Do you think Klaus has a chance with Cassie anymore?
No. With Cammy?
Or
No.
Cammy, yeah, Cassie.
No.
There's no chance? They're
No,
done?
there's no redeeming what Klaus did. I mean, even if she gets to the point where she understands why he did what he did, she knows what he did in the past. And it's the same kind of syndrome that Rebecca and Elijah have about Klaus. He's done all these bad things, so when something good happens and he's honest and he's true and he's sincere, they're not going to believe him.
But what about we saw this before on Vampire Diaries with Klaus and Caroline, and it seemed like Caroline was starting to fall for Klaus after all the bad things that he did.
You know,
Caroline's
Caroline, not only that, she's not exactly the purest of the pure. She does some pretty scandalous things herself, so, I mean, she's probably attracted to the bad boy.
Hmm.
And she's an idiot.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. I'm sorry. I've always seen Caroline as the stereotypical dumb blonde.
Oh. I think that's why Umi hated her so much in the first season.
I really did not like her as a human. I did not.
No, I didn't either. But alright, so speaking of being attracted to the bad boys and sleeping around, what is Sophie's deal?
She just wants bang, bang, bang.
Yeah.
She's
She don't want a relationship.
We haven't
She
really
just
seen
wants
much
bang,
of
bang,
her the last few episodes.
No.
And now we kind of found out why.
Right.
Because she's
She's
hiding
busy.
under the bed sheets with all the other guys.
Yeah.
All the other guys.
All of them. There's like, what was it? The witch? I don't remember her name. Just like barged into the bar.
Sabine.
Sabine.
Yeah.
Sabine barged into the bar, and they're all hot and heavy in the kitchen counter. Do you want to eat food at that bar?
I think she's kind of like in a depressed state because all her elders are dead. So completing the harvest for her, even if they had Davina, is going to be a almost impossible task. But the elders are dead now, so it is an impossible task. So that's, she's kind of like, my magic is gone. My whole life is just falling apart. My sister's dead. She's freaking out. So she has to do something to numb the pain.
Yeah. Mike, would you eat food at that bar?
If I was at one of like the side tables or something, sure. Why the fuck not?
After what goes on that kitchen counter where they prepare
It
all
wasn't
the
the
food?
kitchen counter. That was the
That's where they prepare the food. We saw it in the first episode. She was stirring the stew right there.
Oh, well, in that case, I might have second thoughts.
Sev, I mean, you say, hey, don't knock doing it in the kitchen until you tried it. Well, I mean, I don't want to eat the remnants after that's happened.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Our chat is insane.
I'm thinking of logistics in our kitchen, and it just absolutely would not work.
No.
You could open the stove.
No. The only
Fit in your kitchen.
there's not enough room for anything. We'd have to get in the fridge together.
The stove.
There's this thing called cleaning.
No.
No, there's not this thing called cleaning.
I love chat, right? I was like, I do it. I've done it. There's this thing called cleaning. You clean up. Like, just rapid fire. It's like advocates for, sex in the kitchen. That's our chat.
They're on Team Sophie. That's for sure.
They are definitely on Team Sophie.
But then we see Sophie approach Haley for some help. Did you think after everything that they've been through, Haley would help her under any circumstances?
No, but
No.
Haley's not the smartest person.
Tool in the crayon box.
Yeah, she's just not.
Sharpest
I mean,
crayon. It's sharpest light bulb in the crayon box.
I also think Haley's trying to reach out, even if it's to Sophie, because she kind of feels locked up. We're in the situation she's at right now, so makes sense that she wants to do other things. And if they're with the only person being Sophie that's stepping up, then it's probably the only other person she knows.
True.
Mm-hmm.
Hi.
Hey, Jasper.
He's being a pain, sleeping on my lap and then rolling into weird positions.
You should have seen it this morning. Wake up this morning. I want to move in so many. This is a quote from Omi. I want to move in so many ways, but I can't. And I'm like, well, why? What's going on? Oh. There's the cat just curled up in a ball on her legs.
But what Sophie wanted was someone that I least expected. I kind of pushed Celeste out of my mind.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know why. Usually when they introduce a character like that, it's a red flag, and I focus and I'm like, how can they fit this character into the existing story? There had to be a reason why they brought it up. It wasn't just for the fun of it.
It seemed like it was just a character development moment for Elijah.
That's probably why I dismissed it so quickly.
And it came across perfectly as, that. Like, this is from Elijah's past. This is, a love he had and lost and things of that nature. Blah, 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 blah. It was a witch. It was forbidden. He was going against his brother. Cycle repeating itself. And bam, character development. So it did seem like a one-off character.
Yeah.
It did.
And now all of a sudden it's like, guess what? Possible villain for the series who's not Klaus.
The Vampire Diaries writers, originals writers, whatever, I don't know if they crossed over and stuff like that, but they continue to surprise me. Right when I think I have things figured out, they throw something in. It's kind of like a monkey wrench into my brain, where I'm just like, did not see that coming.
Yeah, that was my exact reaction. I was like, wow.
Yeah, whoever wrote that episode with Celeste and then this one, tying it together like that, very, very talented at, making it seem like a one-off moment, and then all of a sudden, guess what?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What about Josh? Is he the worst liar in the history of liars?
Hi, Klaus. I moved to Turkey.
What? It's probably
Turkey? Really?
No, getting the glimpse of his character before he's a vampire, he seemed like he's a very honest, straightforward person. So for him to come up with a lie like that makes sense because he's not used to lying. And I mean, he did lie before, but he was kind of compelled to do that. So that wasn't actually him.
Yeah.
But Turkey?
But I moved to Turkey, and guess what? They don't actually eat turkey here. It brought me back to I'm gonna convince him and his mate. I'm gonna convince him that his mates found religion and moved to Utah.
I don't even know what to say to Josh. I don't even know. But then later in the episode, when Davina reveals her plan to kill Klaus, he just straight up doesn't tell her the fact that he's linked to Klaus's bloodline, and if Klaus dies, he dies. So in a way, he lied right there, and he did it almost flawlessly.
I think it was just to, I mean, she would definitely be torn and be upset at that point, and she wouldn't know what to do. So she was really dead set on killing Klaus, so he's like, you know what, I'm just going to let her because, that's what she wants to do. It'll probably, save her some pain other than telling her the truth.
Yeah. I mean, he had this moment where he looked like he was going to tell her.
Yeah, he did.
But then he changed his mind really quickly, and he was able to pull it off without raising too many questions out of her.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, he did a good job at masking it. But then, she confronts Klaus. I guess she decimated these four witches in the church first and foremost.
Oh, yeah. Just
she did it
snap
without
their
even
necks.
blinking.
It's just, and then like that, and they snapped their necks. They fell. It was
It was
pretty good.
Yeah, It was gruesome. Then she goes in and she manhandles Klaus and Elijah like they were putty in her hands.
Mm-hmm.
These are the originals. They're the most badass vampires we've come across.
Well, they can still get hurt. And they still have
We've never
regenerative
seen them
time.
manhandled like this before.
No, this is true.
No, yeah. Klaus got bent over and twisted and, shaped into many different fun shapes and poses before being knocked out.
This is
And
someone
Elijah.
we saw like an episode or two ago, where he went up against 100 vampires, and barely broke a sweat.
Mm-hmm.
Just means Davina is just that awesome. She just has that much power.
And it's like, Elijah, would you like a pint of blood here? Oops, I summoned a lake. In your throat.
Nice.
That was a lot of blood.
That was a lot of blood.
All of this blood!
I was not even aware that he had that much blood in his body.
Oh, no, I don't think it was his. I think she just summoned blood. Just like to start.
He
She
summoned
did
it from the
mention-
blood gods.
The blood of the innocents that you've killed or something like that.
Yeah, so it's
I-
whatever
I-
he fed on.
You've drank innocent blood for 1,000 years. Why don't you choke on it? So it was probably 1,000 years worth of him feeding, just deciding to come back out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But, so Klaus had compelled her fiddler on the roof, as, I think it was, Rebecca put it, the fiddler on the roof.
Yep.
To poison Davina with water and then inadvertently drank it himself. What the hell was in that poison? It was something that vampire blood couldn't cure. And as far as I knew, what we've seen recently in the Vampire Diaries and stuff like that, the blood regenerative properties can cure ailments and illnesses that human medicine doesn't even have cures for.
It was probably a mix between a human poison and werewolf essence, or like his hybrid blood. Because if he does any kind of damage to a werewolf, or like to anything, to like say a vampire themselves cannot heal from the hybrid concoction
Without his blood.
without his blood. So I mean, that's probably where the vampire blood couldn't work. It was probably a mix of things in that water.
Well, I have a simpler explanation. It was probably just cyanide.
But
I say that because cyanide's method of poisoning you is preventing your blood from carrying oxygen. It basically stops your blood from working properly.
yeah,
So
but
it
one
makes
drop,
sense.
one drop of vampire blood would,
It's
cause
vampire blood.
no,
Still blood.
It's magical properties. Once that blood touches the rest of the blood, it just like a domino effect, and everything starts healing. And
I'm just coming up with a simple explanation for a possibility as to why, who knows what it was. Klaus just said it was an effective poison.
So do you think we're going to see this poison again?
Yeah, it's effective. So why wouldn't he use it again?
What else would
It's
he use it on?
effective.
Is this something that could potentially kill him? Could it kill his brother?
The human faction?
Is this something that you think could kill an original?
No.
Maybe not Klaus, but
Doubt it.
I don't think so. I don't think it's gonna. I don't think it'll work on vampires. Maybe werewolves, but not. And it will work on humans, obviously. So
But Klaus's immortality comes from his, original vampire side. Not because he killed off a whole bunch of hybrids, so being a hybrid doesn't make him any more immortal than
it does.
stuff.
It
I mean,
does.
well-
It prevents him from being daggered. He cannot be daggered
True.
because of the vampire side. I mean, the werewolf side of him.
It helps, like I said. But
Yeah.
He's just so old. It doesn't matter if he's a mix or not. I mean, he's just gonna pwn everyone and survive it.
oh, that's what I was thinking of that today. I remember mentioning at one point before, why the hell didn't their father, why did Damon not just help Michael kill Klaus when they had the chance? And then I thought to it today, I'm like, I'm kind of glad that didn't happen, because we wouldn't have this spin-off show that I'm actually enjoying a hell of a lot more than I've ever enjoyed the Vampire Diaries.
Yeah, it's definitely a A lot more action-packed than the Vampire Diaries.
Oh, it's just better storytelling overall, I think.
I don't know if it's better storytelling. It's different storytelling.
It's different. You're right. It's different, and maybe it's the kind of different I like.
Yeah, it's definitely more action based, and there's less of a high school factor to it.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Fact.
you know,
High
that's
school bullshit.
yeah,
The youth factor is
Yeah.
kind of missing in this point. Yeah.
yeah, because everybody, it seems like they're adults or young adults at this point, where the Vampire Diaries, they just kind of transitioned to college, so
They're still kind of.
they're still almost teens.
They're still doing the whole, you know, banter between each other and talking behind each other's backs and just acting childish.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So at this point, it was revealed, or Davina dies, and then it was revealed that Marcel and Elijah had formed a pact together. Is this something you saw coming?
They were leading up to it. I mean, they both had common goals. They didn't want Davina to get hurt. Even though they dislike each other, it was just, common grounds, and they had to work together to help her, save her from Klaus.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't expect it out of them. It just, we know they hate each other, and yeah, it was, they have a common interest. I don't want to say common enemy, but they have a common frenemy.
In front of me.
And they had a common interest. They both wanted to protect Davina, but still, somehow I didn't see it coming. And then furthermore, they aligned with the witches, which is their enemy.
Well, I don't think Elijah was on board with that. I don't think he knew. It was all Marcel's doing.
Yeah.
I think he had to have known.
No. Marcel went to Sabine in the church after she had been decimated, and said, okay, protection spell, obviously. Now cast it on Davina. I don't think Elijah knew about that. I don't think he did.
Maybe not. I don't know. But it was revealed Sabine was still alive. She cast a protection spell on herself, so she survived Davina's attack. Marcel found out she was doing magic, which is something he could not tell without having Davina, and threatened as a form of punishment that either he killed her or she cast the same spell for Davina. So Davina ends up coming back, and she's not dead, and she's back in the care of Marcel, Elijah, and Klaus, back in the French Quarter, and
She's a spy.
yeah,
Now she's a spy.
She's kind of acting as a spy for Rebecca.
Mm-hmm.
Rebecca, she reveals her new plan is to take over New Orleans.
Herself.
Yeah, why? Why does she want to take New Orleans over?
She feels used and abused. And then, Elijah and Marcel, the two people she she was starting to love Marcel again, and he chose Klaus. And Elijah is choosing Haley and Klaus over Rebecca, so she's feeling used and abused.
And it's also, I guess, the culmination of the whole girl power binge she's been on this whole episode.
Yeah.
And that's the whole mentioning of the Casket girls in the first place, and Rebecca saving them. Us girls got to stick together, and that's kind of like, the whole trip she's been on this whole episode. And when it gets to the end, it's like, yeah, you know what? Fuck this. I'm going to take over. Screw my brothers.
Yeah, it's definitely
Figuratively.
she has this women power thing going on here, but not without the help of Josh and Tiari now. What do you think she's got up her sleeve with them two?
Well, Josh is obviously not exactly a ladies' man. He's a guy's guy.
He's fabulous.
He's awesome. Let's just get that straight.
So are you saying basically he's a girl? Is that what you're saying?
No.
Okay.
He's a toned down Kiggles.
Oh.
Very toned down if we want to get really, really into that. And Tiari, he's pissed off because Marcel is with Klaus and they're buddy-buddy, and Tiari was buddy-buddy with Marcel, and I think Rebecca sees Tiari as, a good tool for revenge. Vengeance, more or less.
But what about... I don't know. Like, how are they going to incorporate Tiari? Like, he's bricked up. What, is she just going to set him free and be like, here you go, Marcel?
Feeding him blood.
She was feeding him blood at the end, so he's going to gain his strength back enough to break out of that wall.
But what is he going to do? Just befriend Marcel again? Like, it seemed like the whole point of her, like, telling him what was going on, feeding him the blood, was also to be a spy on the inside. And the way that they kind of portrayed it to me is they wanted you to think that Davina was on the inside and who they were referring to.
It is
I
possible.
think it's Tiari.
It is possible that, she's, telling Tiari all these things, getting him informed, and then, Marcel will talk Klaus into letting Tiari out, being he would be a helpful for their cause. Maybe the witches will pose more of a threat because, they're just going to start using magic and screw it. The whole Celestial, that's going to come to a head, and the witches are going to get really confident. So they're going to need the extra help, and Tiari will be the extra help. But he'll be on Rebecca's side too.
Yeah, so Sophie wants Celeste because she wants to summon her power. So I don't know if we're actually going to see Celeste again, or if it's just she's going to be absorbed by Sophie. I don't know what it is yet, but at the very end of the episode, we see Elijah messing around with all the dark evil drawings that Davina had lying around. Mm-hmm. And he starts piecing them together like Pablo Picasso over here. And it's a giant mural of Celeste made of all different overlaying pictures.
Yeah.
So, how is Celeste evil? Like, what's so evil about her that has Elijah so worried?
I don't think she was probably never evil to begin with. She was very powerful, as they said, and that's why Sophie's going after her. She's, I think, also along the line, she's the same bloodline as Sophie? Was that ever... Mm-hmm. Yes, okay. So, I mean, absorbing her would mean she has the power of all the elders again, because she's so old and she's so powerful to begin with. I think, Celeste has been supernaturally dead for a while. She still can, watch and see what's going on, and she knows why she got killed, because Klaus did it. And I'd be pissed off, too, if I died because some jackass decided I needed to be dead. I would come back with a vengeance, and I'd make sure he pays for his evil deeds.
So, is she going to take revenge on Klaus or revenge on Elijah?
On Klaus. I mean, Elijah's he's going to be involved, because I think he realizes that she's going to come back and there's going to be no remorse for anyone. She's been dead a long time and she's pissed about it.
Vengeful spirit witch.
Mm-hmm.
And here comes the question. The way she comes back, is Sophie going to attempt to absorb her and wound up having her powers absorbed herself? Is Celeste going to possess Sophie?
I don't know. I mean, we saw the mural, so it could mean so many things. But
I think we're going to actually see Celeste.
I think Celeste is coming back. I mean, they wouldn't just, one scene or whatever. I mean, you see her face. She just seems like a really interesting character. So I think she has a part to play. And I think Sophie's out of the picture now. I hope so. Maybe it'll be some kind of weird, morphine thing where multi-personalities, where Sophie comes out and she's like, oh my god, save me! And it's all Sophie. And then all of a sudden she, forms into Celeste and is like, I'm going to eat your face. Yeah.
How delicious is her face?
I have no idea. That's Celeste talking. Who knows who she's talking to?
Oh, Celeste is possessed by you now.
Magically delicious.
Oh.
Magically.
She's the leprechaun.
Oh, leprechaun.
They have leprechauns in New Orleans?
Maybe.
Maybe
French,
we
not
just
Irish.
haven't seen them.
Is there a French version of a leprechaun?
French leprechauns.
French leprechauns. It's possible. Who knows?
So at the end of the rainbow,
French-
instead of a pot of gold, it's a bakery full of baguettes,
French leprechaun.
croissants.
French leprechaun hybrid vampire werewolves.
A bakery full of shit cakes.
God.
Her bakery full of shit cakes.
Oh, if you guys did not catch that reference, that is one of our amazing Mad Lib rituals that we do pre and post shows.
Which we're gonna do tonight.
Yes.
Oh.
Maybe at some point I may upload some of those to YouTube. I'm getting around.
You're gonna upload some of them to them. You're gonna
Yeah.
upload.
You
There's a
gotta.
book.
I don't know if I'm gonna put them on the ASOTV channel, but I may make a separate Mad Lib channel for them. I don't know. We'll see. I'm trying to decide what to do with them. But
Are you?
so
Here's
next
some
week.
book here. Next week.
Next week is the first non-English title we have in the Vampire Diaries universe. It is French, and it is Après-moi de la luge. That's my best French impersonation there, which means after me, the flood.
Après moi, la deluge.
Yes, perfect. See, you're French.
No, I'm not.
She grew up in a country that's the second language is French.
You're French.
I'm Western Canadian. French is not a requirement.
Oh, you're French.
And I dropped
Eastern
it in grade
Canadians are
6.
French. Western Canadians are Mormons.
No, she's French.
Or
But
cowboys.
we get in some witch business here, and when Davina becomes violently ill, the repercussions soon begin to affect the entire French Quarter. Marcel, Klaus, Elijah, and Rebecca rush to find out what is going on. What do you think's going on?
I think she's coming to the point where the harvest ritual needs to be completed, and she's starting to be drained of all of her powers, and being at so much, it's making her ill.
So how would that
Or
affect the
it could-
French Quarter?
It could be that, her powers are becoming too much for her body to handle, and they're leaking out, unstable, and they're leaking out and affecting the French Quarter.
That seems plausible.
Sorry.
What the hell are you doing?
I'm looking for the Mad Libs book, and I found a box of beechwood scented candles, and beechwood is like my favorite scent on the planet.
Such a girl. Such a girl. Also,
Is that the Christmas one?
yes,
Why the hell is it out there?
because you probably did them last out here.
So Sophie approaches the others with some startling information about the Harvest Festival and presents a drastic plan to save Davina. So looks like your theory on the Harvest Festival is correct. What do you think the drastic plan to save Davina is?
To save her? Probably invoking Celeste. Using some of Celeste's powers.
Yeah. Before I continue with the rest of the synopsis, how do you think Elijah's going to react when he find out Haley was involved with resurrecting Celeste?
He's gonna be torn.
Depends on how Celeste reacts to him first.
Yeah. I think he's actually gonna be, he's gonna be pissed because Haley went through his things and found out. But then he's gonna be kind of happy because Celeste is back, but he's gonna be kind of upset because he's starting to like Haley. It's gonna be a crazy roller coaster of emotions for Elijah.
But she clearly disobeyed Celeste's final wishes, was to be buried away from all the supernatural things. That's why she was so far away from everything. So I don't think Celeste wants anything to do with coming back and getting involved. So I don't think she's going to be too happy about this.
She's probably not gonna be happy now.
Elsewhere, Haley is racked with guilt as she comes clean to Elijah about her role in Sophie's plan. So we will see this come to a head. And finally, a sequence of unforeseen events sends shockwaves through the French Quarter.
Ooh.
Dun dun dun.
Shockwave.
What kind of shockwaves? What kind of unforeseen events? They wouldn't be unforeseen if we knew, would they?
It's like the shockwaves that happen after atomic bombs.
Yeah, but what are the unforeseen events? Atomic bombs hitting the French Quarter?
No, I said a shockwave, so
That would be entertaining.
it would not be entertaining. Nobody wants to see atomic bombs dropped on people.
You have some dark humor to you.
What?
Not you, Mike.
Oh. Okay.
He wants to see atomic bombs dropped on people.
No. Well, depends on the people.
Whoa. So, yeah, do you guys have anything further to add to the atomic bombs? I mean, to the originals.
Um.
And on that bombshell, good night!
What?
Nothing.
Anything to add? Well, I was more into this episode than I was for the mid-season, and I would like to see where the Celeste thing goes. It seemed really interesting.
It does seem really interesting, and as I said before, they're bringing back a character that we thought was just a method of another character's development, and I'm really I like that. So I am very curious how they're going to do that. Is she going to be friendly with Elijah, or is she just going to be I've been dead for 200 plus years, I'm rage mode?
I'm super bitch right now.
You are?
No, that's what she said.
Oh,
no.
Well,
that's what she said. So
she's not denying it.
Omikins, where can the people find your bitchiness?
You could get away with it.
They can find me on Twitter at LadyVenom24, LadyVenom24.
And Mike, where can the people find your battered and bruised body?
I'm smelling it, so I remember the smell when I die. They can find me on Twitter at Thilladren, THILLADREN.
You can find me and my glorious unharmed body on Twitter at Phenomenon, PHENOMEDOM.
I have a whole box of them.
It's like, zip.
You can find us all on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Google+, Gmail, at ASOTV Podcast. For some more podcasts for some of your favorite TV shows, feel free to like, subscribe, follow, circle, add to circle, whatever G+ does, email, whatever. Send us some comments, feedback. Let us know what you liked, what you didn't like, what you want to see, what we missed, and your theories. And we will cover them in upcoming episodes. So until next week.
She's gonna.
We'll see you guys later. And I will stick all of Mike's candles in the oven and set it to high.
That's my oven too. I ain't cleaning that shit up.
No, why would you clean the kitchen?
Well, you guys are doing it in the oven.
Oh God.
I said the fridge.
Neither. Oh my God.